Great panel.
Maybe.
Yeah. Are you going to wait for the wash-up to see what everyone writes about it, or?
I've never worried about any of that sort of stuff. I mean, you say what you're saying, do what you do, and if it just depends on what people are looking for nowadays.
Yeah. You spoke about how long you've been involved with Big Day Out and trying to reinvent it, breaking it down, bring it back up again, as well as that with a bit of a restructure internally. Has your role changed much this year? Are you feeling different going into it?
The role this year is definitely. Actually, I've got to say, thinking about that, no, my role hasn't changed. And in fact, it's actually become calmer of the same thing, because I wanted to. The fear process is that if I was fully in here, 100% the coalface, then this is the last show for me at any rate. After 22 years of it, like I've completed my bucket list, really, with all acts. You know, and it might be a little bit self-indulgent up front, the way it is, but having the process to roll it through from this and further on, it needed to be whoever was going to be pretty much taking on my financial burden with it, is that they've got to be, one, in tune, and two, work together through this process so that when the relationship's going later, it's not as emotive and more an advisory role and pulling it together. But it's like, in actual fact, I thought it was going to change. It hasn't changed at all.
Right.
Because I've never actually thought that it was that it was money. It's like an artistic process when you're doing a job. If you start shoveling dirt, it doesn't matter what you're getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not thinking, wow, you're shoveling dirt. You just get busy and do it. So, it's actually stabilised a lot more than I thought it was going to go the other way, but it didn't.
Yeah. In the panel as well, you just on that artistic front mentioned that perhaps a couple of years ago the festival wasn't in the right place that it should have been to be announced. Is that still something that you would do in the future if, say, if next year you don't have the acts you want, you don't have the moment? Would you
well, you have to be prepared to do that, but that's a question of whether that's physically possible. I mean, it's physically possible to do that on a. Look, just have to say very simply, if you don't have the lineup, if you don't have the right feel for it, if it's not getting there, I think that you'd have to be able to say, if that's not the show that you are proud of, then how are you meant to convince everybody else to go for it? And sometimes, as I touched on there before, it's like some acts can cancel each other out, and you don't quite get the flow of it together properly. But I mean, the reality of it is that I look back on things, and it's after 2008, Big Day Out with Rage Against the Machine and Bjork and stuff. I was trying to work out a way to of a 3-year exit plan that I figured once it gets to 20 years, then it has to be a generational shift involved in it, and try and get that through and how that relationship would go. And that didn't happen because of that year, so the extra 2 was important to go, well, that I think musically has stabilised the event.
Yeah. Is there any possibility from your point of view that the event could come back as Lollapalooza?
I don't think so. We've discussed that a few times with the others. I don't think there's any real plan. They've got the Big Day Out brand. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. I mean, it's not like they're trying to go all over the world to do that. And I think that the problem of it is that the Lollapalooza model works as one show in one country, and always is, even with Splendour and stuff like that, is that struggle of going, what do you do with all these acts if it's one? So if you're talking about a 3-day model of the scale of Lollapalooza, then you're dealing with, is it 3 cities, and then you're getting back to the same problem of scale and cost and everything else as well. So while there's no intention to do anything, I've asked them a few times. I said, if you're not happy with Big Day Out, you could do like, and they go, no, it's not. That's not the thought. That's no. a lot of the, ironically, a lot of the things of Lollapalooza were learnt from the big day out.
Yeah.
So if it's the snake eating its own tail, I don't know. But it is like a lot of the stuff that we, C3 is saying is that we did. Oh, what a great show Big Day Out is, and their model is quite. As I said in first place a long time ago, it's kind of interesting that you've got a festival that's Wild Horse, and you corralled it in Chicago. Because of the principle. It's like the big problem, the Big Day Out problem. It's always, the idea of Big Day Out was about the length of the day, not the size of the show. Because I only had 9,500 people at the first show. It wasn't like it was trying to get people down at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Not 8 o'clock at night to see the one act.
Yeah.
So no plans on that.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you very much for sitting down with us.
Yeah.
You get back to it, and all the best for this year.
Yeah, I will. It's good.
Pondfly.com.